Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Now we are going to discuss another module in the line of renewable energy resources, that is wind energy. And we perceive that wind energy is the generation of electricity by wind energy. And we know that this wind energy is a form of solar energy, and this would be more evident with our subsequent discussion. Now, the few evidences of the wind energy. We experience cool breeze during morning hours, then the kite flying, some force is there to cause the kite to fly, then drying of clothes. If we have put our clothes in the open, now we can see that how at much faster rate these are going to dry if these clothes are put in the contained environment or in closed environment. Then sailing of gigantic ships in the oceans, then water pumping, for irrigation, using the infrastructure known as the windmills, then crushing of sugarcane, again using same structure of windmill known in old times. Now these are known as the wind turbines. So these are the few evidences which give the presence of wind. Now the advantages: the wind is available in abundance, so abundant. If we see that only 2% of the total sun energy that is converted into wind energy, and which is 100% more energy that is converted or used by the biomass or the plants which are present on the earth. So we can see the potential how much energy that is available in the form of wind. Then it is cheap, you don't have to pay the recurring cost. Then it is clean energy and environmental friendly, causing no pollution. However, one of the limitations, that is initial cost, is very high. And this initial cost is in the form of the manufacturing of making of wind turbines, and the cost associated with the site selection for the wind turbines. So this is very high, after that it is cheap. Now few environmental concerns in that. The first one is that electromagnetic interference. It disrupts the frequencies of TV and radio waves. So this causes the disruption, that is electromagnetic interference. Then is the noise, which produces noise because of the component that is rotated itself of the wind turbine, the drive chain and the generator that is part of wind turbine. Then is the visual impact, where the turbines are installed near the population, so the people feel that these are going to um, deteriorate the landscape of that very region. Then is the wildlife, that is killing of birds, and this is more associated with the vertical axis wind turbine. Sorry, this is more pronounced for the case of horizontal axis wind turbines, which we are going to discuss soon. Now, wind drivers above the earth's surface, between this greenhouse where the atmosphere that is present, this is known as the geostrophic winds, and here the temperature differences and pressure differences, this causes the wind that to blow the air that is moving. So we will look one by one. The first one, that is uneven heating of the earth. The sun energy that is falling on the earth, the energy falling on the equator at 0 degree latitude, that is much more as compared to the North Pole and the South Pole. So what is happening? The air present on the equator, that warms fast at much faster rate, and then because of the low density it moves upward. And after moving upward, it is going towards the North Pole and the South Pole. So this is one of the reasons of the blow of the wind, the wind driver. Then we have the Earth's rotation. And this also known as Coriolis effect. Now, since the Earth is rotating, but the air that is present, that is not attached or stick with the surface of the Earth. No, the Earth is rotating, but that air that is lacking behind. If you see from the side view, that in this view the Earth is static, and you can see the drift of the that very air. And if you see from the top view, you see the Earth is rotating, and this drift, that air that is present suspended on the surface of the earth at some distance, that is lagging behind. So this phenomena is known as the Coriolis effect, and this is also one of the cause of wind drivers. Then is the we have the gravitational force. Now the air and the particles that is present in the air have some mass, and because of that mass, that air that is tend to move towards the inside of the earth. So that is the gravitational force. This is one of the cause of wind driver. Then we have the air density. By virtue of the air density that is going to vary on location to location, at sea level we have the air density of 1.2 to 5 kg per meter cube at 20 degrees Celsius and dry air. And where we are going to install these turbines, so we have to note that air density, because this is going to matter as far as the wind move is concerned. Then is the inertial forces. As we know that the earth is moving around its fixed orbit around the sun, so because of the attraction of the sun there are some inertial forces, so that is also causing the force. Then we have the weather phenomena. We have the seasons like to say summer, winter, spring, autumn, and because of that there is a seasonal effect, and due to these seasonal effect, the wind direction as well as the velocity, the speed that is going to differ. So this also causes the movement of the wind. Further, the surface effect. Surface effects. In that, the first one is the topography. The terrain or the landscape of that very location which is under consideration. So this is going to affect as far as the wind movement is concerned. Then the mountain effect. In mountains during daytime, since the mosses that gets warm earlier, the wind that warms up and it moves towards upward sides, and during night hours it tends to move towards the downward. Then we have the tunnel effect. If we have two mountains and in between there is a passage available, so the wind that is coming after striking these mountains, and it tend to pass through this open channel. So this is a tunnel effect. So the velocity or the speed of the wind that is going to be very high. So in these channels we try to avoid, we don't install any of the turbine because it is going to destroy the structure. So this is not only specific for the hills. Maybe you have two tall buildings, in between there is going to be very high speed of the wind. Then we have the hill effect. This is the same. The wind is coming after striking the hill, it tends to move towards the upside, and from here it is going to pass. So at this place, the hilltop, the wind velocity is going to be very high. So again we avoid for selection of this side, because at very high speed of the wind, these structures, the wind turbines, these are going to be destroyed. Now the surface roughness. Above the ground, above the surface of the earth, every object that is present in the form of, you can say, the house, in the form of trees, in the form of mm, the landscape, the hills. These obstruct the flow of the wind, and because of that obstruction, the wind tends to go upward. So these poses the obstacles, the presence of any object on the ground. So we say that the surface roughness on the sea level, that is 0, and the surface roughness uh, uh, on the roads, on the runways, that is going to be 0.5, and likewise the build-up area, this is going to vary. So this is the surface roughness that hinders the flow of the air, and air is going to move at much faster velocity after striking these objects which are present on the surface of the earth. Then we have the land sea interface. During morning or during daytime, as the land masses, these are warm at very much faster rate. So the air present on the earth, that is warm first, and it tends to move toward the seaside. And during daytime and during morning, this sea water, that is going to be warm very cool very fast rate. So at the morning we see that the wind is coming from the seaside. So this is the land sea interface. Then if we talk in terms of the time interannual, in different years, we note down the timings, the speed, the velocity, that is in meter per second, annual, starting from January to December, diurnal, during night and day. These are the, let's say, the time in hours. At different hours we are having different velocity. The vertical axis, that is showing the velocity in meter per second. The short term, the gust and the turbulences. Overall we can say the air is affected by the variation in the pressure fields, that is caused by the uneven temperature and many other reasons. Absorption of the solar energy. Now it will depend on the objects, on the masses which are present on the earth. It is then the amount of moisture available in that very region. Then the overall go for the statistical analysis, we have to actually calculate get the data of wind data for the analysis, that is average horizontal wind speed over a specified time interval. Then the variations in the horizontal wind speed, then the average horizontal wind direction. Because if you have at any location, let's say if I mark this location like this is from north, south, east, west. Now as far as this is going to indicate the direction of the wind at any point in time, what is the direction of that very wind. So this is going to indicate, so wind direction and the wind's velocity, the speed and duration of distribution. So this is going to give us the distribution and the, you can say, the direction as well as the speed of that very wind. Then the gust parameters, then statistical analysis on the basis of these measurements, then steady and fluctuations that we are going to expect, and overall these are going to calculate on the basis of during day and night, seasonal, annual and interannual variations. Now these are the few instruments which we use for the measurements of the wind. The first one, that is anemometer. Now if we see the anemometer, this is going to measure the velocity of the wind, and it is very important that we have to put that or place that anemometer at that very location where is going to be the head of that very wind turbine. Let's say we have 3-blade wind turbine. This is 3-blade wind turbine, and roughly as a thumb rule, this height of the turbine should be 3 times of the radius of that very rotor, or you can say the radius of the blade. Let's say if the blade length is 40 meters, so 3 times mean we have to install this turbine 120 meter from the ground. So we have to place that anemometer at that very place 120 meter from the ground. Then we use wind vanes. Wind vanes are used for the direction, as we have discussed earlier, that at any time the direction of the wind that is changing. This you may have also seen on the airports. So this is going to give us the information of the direction of the wind. All the time the direction that is changing. So this is very essential that again these windmills are installed at that very location at the hub of the turbine. Then we use thermometer. This is used to measure the temperature, ambient temperature of the air. Then we use the barometer for the measurement of the pressure of the wind. So with this we end our discussion here. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this session of wind energy, we will discuss various types of wind turbines. Charles F. Brush is considered to be the founder of wind turbines. He was also founder of American electrical industry. He built his wind turbine with 144 blades, and the diameter of the rotor was 17 meters. Another, Paul Core, was also considered as the pioneers of modern aerodynamic wind turbines. He was actually a metallurgist, and he built his own wind tunnel for experiments. Working principle of wind turbines: the kinetic energy in the wind that pushes the turbine blades, and in turns the turbine blades that rotates, and at the end we generate power. The wind turbines produce electricity in 2 steps. First, conversion of kinetic energy of the wind into rotational energy by the rotor blades, and then conversion of rotational energy into the electricity by the generator. Now these are the types of wind turbines. This is horizontal axis wind turbine, and we have 2 types of further: vertical axis wind turbine of Darius and vertical axis wind turbine Savanius. In Savanius vertical axis wind turbines, the rotor blade starts from the center and it goes towards the end, and in Darius axis wind turbine, vertical axis wind turbine, the rotor blade that is away from the axis of the shaft. Now the vertical axis wind turbines. This is a type of wind turbine in which the axis of rotation is perpendicular to the wind stream, and this vertical axis wind turbine works like a classical water wheel in which the water arrives at the right angle to the rotational axis of the water wheel. And further we have two types of vertical axis wind turbine, the Suvenius vertical axis wind turbine and the Darius vertical axis wind turbine. And the advantages of vertical axis wind turbine, that vertical axis wind turbine has its rotor shaft installed vertically and can therefore work even if the turbine is not directly pointed towards the direct wind direction. Let's say if we have a Suvenius type of drawing is not too good, the freehand drawing. And this rotor is connected with this shaft with the ground. Now irrespective of the direction of the wind, this rotor is going to operate. So this is big advantage of this vertical axis of wind turbine. No direction keeping is required. Then ensures wind power even in areas where there is low wind speed. Actually it operates in low wind speed. We will discuss later why this is used in low wind speeds. In vertical axis wind turbines have the generator and gearbox assembled near the ground. Now here we have the gearbox and also the generator. Now this shaft is connecting this rotor with the gearbox, the drive chain, and then you have the generator. With these turbines there is no need for tower structure. Actually we don't go too high for the installation of this rotor. So this is a big limitation. So you cannot raise this turbine to a very high level because the limitation of this shaft, because you have to transfer this rotational energy to this gear or the drive chain. So this is one of the. They also have parts which are easier to maintain. Okay, fine, less likely to break down. However, areas where the horizontal axis wind turbines are prohibited, vertical axis wind turbines are could be the best choice. Since vertical axis wind turbines are mounted closer to the ground, they are more bird friendly because the bird fly at high altitude, so less likely to killing of the birds. Vertical axis wind turbines are quite efficient, economical, and perfect for the residential energy use or domestic energy use. So you can use these turbines in build-up areas, the vertical axis wind turbines. The disadvantages: only 50% less efficient, 50% less efficient from the horizontal axis wind turbine. So this is a disadvantage, big disadvantage. Because of no tower structure, full advantage of higher wind speed cannot be gained. So again, the limitation of the shaft, the limitation of the shaft for the case of vertical axis wind turbines, you cannot take very high. So this is the limitation. Require energy to start. So starting energy or starting torque is required for the running of this. So this is again limitation. Automatically this is not going to operate. So initially you require a starting torque. And then they will have parts which are difficult to change without dismantling the entire turbine. Since the gearbox as well as the generator that is under this shaft. So if there is any malfunctioning in the generator or the drive chain, the gearbox, you have to dismantle entire turbine and then you can rectify that. Require wires to hold the structure. This is certain. Yes, you require wires. Then stress on the bearing, because all the weight of the bearing, you are going to use entire weight of this rotor as well as the shaft that has to rest on this bearing. So these are the few disadvantages of vertical axis wind turbines. Then the horizontal axis wind turbine. The horizontal axis wind turbine common style that most of us think of when we think of the wind turbine. So automatically once you think of a wind turbine, in our minds the turbine which comes, that is of the vertical axis and the horizontal axis wind turbines. Horizontal axis wind turbine design like a windmill. Like in the past, it has blades that look like a propeller. So this is the propeller. On the horizontal axis, the dominant driving force is the lift. If you have a blade like this, so the driving force is going to be the lift. The three blade turbines operate more smoothly and generate generally more quiet than the two bladed wind turbines. Further, most horizontal axis wind turbines built today are of three blade wind turbines. Three blade. Although some have fewer or more blades, but the ideal is three blade. We will discuss later on why this is more efficient and economical, the three blade wind turbine. Horizontal axis wind turbine have main rotor shaft, electrical generator. So in this wind turbine, let's say we have a three blade wind turbine, and here you have a drive chain, and this is connected with the, this is gearbox. Drive chain is the gearbox, with the generator, and this is all. This we have a tower. Shaft electrical generator at top of a tower and must be pointed into the wind. So there is a limitation. This, the face of this turbine, you have to maintain the direction from the direction the wind is coming. So this is the wind direction. So it has to be facing like this. The purpose of the rotor is to convert the linear motion of the wind energy into rotation. So the kinetic energy that is coming, and there this rotor is going to convert this linear energy into the rotational energy and then drive the generator. Small turbines are pointed by simple wind vanes. At the end we use we will discuss later, we use wind vane for the direction keeping, so that the rotor should face towards the wind, the wind that is coming. Okay, with this we will end our discussion here. Allah Hafiz.